Hello, this is Tazalon. I'm here in Kharkov, standard mode, east spawn, here in my VK2801 for volume 17 of the Lighthouse original tutorial series. What would you do? In this series, I stop the film at several points throughout the battle and say, okay, you're driving my tank. What would you do? And then after a short pause, I'll tell you the decision I made and why I made it, and then we'll see how it turns out. In this battle, there's 1 artillery apiece. The enemy team has 2 scouts. We have 3. The enemy team is almost all heavies and TDs. Heavies on top, TDs below, with 1 medium in the middle. And we're pretty much the same way. We have a bunch of heavies on top, almost as many TDs, and 1 medium. The difference here is, look at all those E25s and Hellcats on the enemy team. They have mobile TDs. We have 3 Scorpions in an E25, so we aren't doing too bad ourselves. But man, 4 E25s on the same team is devastating if they play them well. So a key to the battle is going to be, where do those E25s stay together? If they wolf pack, where do they go? Because they could be a very effective force if they play together. I'm going to move off to the northwest corner and I'm watching the map. I want to know where those E25s went. Normally, with more mediums in the battle, you would expect to see scouts and mediums down in here. I'm not worried about finding the scouts in this battle. I'm not worried about the medium. I'm really concerned about where those E25s go. The other 2801's coming with me. The ELC is coming this way. So far, so good. Don't see anybody over here, and most importantly, we see E25s and Hellcats going to the southeast corner, which gives me the luxury of having some room to operate down here without running into the buzzsaw. There's the M41. If he's the only tank down here, I don't have to worry too much. There's 1 E25 up here, significant in that if I try to move to the south, he'll be able to spot me. But he looks like he's going to be playing against the Panther, the way he's moving. Goose Rocks hits the M41 and he backs up right away. The only TD on the enemy team that's over in our location is the E25 up here. So right now I'm thinking, based on how the enemy's deployed their mediums over there in the southeast too, there's a good chance the only tank between me and their back lines is the M41 Bulldog down here. So I'm going to push farther to the south and see if I see anybody else light up, especially as I cross this opening right here, because somebody up here could ruin my plan, and there's nobody there. I'm pushing to the south. I have my 2 lights behind me coming with me, which is perfect. There's the M41 again. Uh-oh, what do we do? Is he going to expose me and blow my plan? And right now, he can't see me. I have no trouble. He's moving a little bit to the south. Behind that building. Oh, and there's the Artie. The Artie's just begging to die. Die, Artie, die. So now I can come down and keep chasing the Bulldog. I don't know if he's figured out what that means, that his Artie just died. But he went around the corner. I'm coming down here thinking he's going to be moving back over here. I want to find him, hopefully going away from me and getting a big hit on him. And as I come down around the corner, there he is, just to my left. Now the ELC's dropped off to harass the heavies into the center of town, but I still have Goose Rocks in his 2801 right behind me. What would you do? And this is pretty much a no-brainer. That guy's looking over toward Goose Rocks. I'm going to pop up here, get a shot into the weak side of this Bulldog to get a big hit. Now I'll just duck around the corner of the building. I'm reloading. He's turning around to pursue. Goose Rocks gets a minor hit on him, and I'm going to get a kill shot right here. Easy work. Good team play on the Bulldog. So now, you have the luxury of looking at this for a few seconds longer than I did, because in in real time, I didn't get to stop and look. I had to do this on the fly. But look at the map. What would you do now? And here's what I'm seeing. We have 3 heavies here joined together at the hip in the middle of the map. Their 2 heavies are in between them and a whole bunch of TDs down here close to our cap. I'm really worried that once they finish off this arty, which won't take them long to do, if those E25s all move over onto cap, our heavies are going to be intercepted by their heavies. They won't be able to make it back to reset. So right now, if they decide to try to fast cap us, the only chance we have of winning the battle is for me and hopefully Goose Rocks to make an end run and get down here and get ready to reset. The closer I get before they cap, the better it's going to be, because if all 3 of them hit the cap circle at the same time, we will not have a lot of time to get there. So I'm going to be headed off to the west and then turning north and trying to get back close enough to be able to respond to the cap circle if I have to try to get a reset. And you can see our heavies have very little chance of getting back there. But fortune smiles on us, and these are apparently some low stat whores over here because they choose not to cap. They're going to come to the south and make a fight of it. They want to kill everybody, and it's going to cost them a victory. They probably had an easy win if they would have gone for cap. I would have had to try to reset against 3 E25s. That probably wouldn't have gone well for me. Now I get to pull up here and flank. One Hellcat dies, there's the other one. I get to kill him. What would you do now? You see the 1 heavy. Well, they still have 3 more heavies back in here somewhere. You see the platoon of E25s all together. My only option is to come up this way and try to curve in behind them and get flanking shots. None of them have even half hit points right now. I can do big damage on the side if I hit the hull, and especially on the back of an E25, so my best plan is to try to get behind them before they mow down the heavies and come in here and pick some of them off. Goose Rocks was going in from the side, and now he's coming up and going the same way I am. Here we go. Should get some easy shots. I try to kill the low health guy and miss him. Move over here so I can play peekaboo. Only option at the moment is the Karn. Ideally right now, because we're behind 2 tanks, I want to take, if I can get a shot on a tank I can kill that shot, I'm going to go for a kill shot. I want to reduce the guns. They have 2 more guns than us when those other heavy, well, everybody's in the fight against each other right now. 28's coming in behind us. He'll be in the fight soon. I need to take guns out because the E25s are probably even more deadly than the heavies because they get to fire so many times they end up doing more damage. So if I get a chance to one-shot an E25 right now, I have to go for it. If I don't, then I have that big old carny to pick on. As is the case right here, he blocks my shot at the E25, so I hit him. Now next time I'll go for the other E25. I shoot too low though and shoot his tracks so I don't get a huge hit. If I would have hit his hull, I could have blown him up. Get to kill this guy now though, he's turning away from me. Still a 2 tank deficit, and now it's just the 2 2801s against the 3 of them. What would you do? We have one advantage in that we have more hit points on most of our tanks than they do. So what I'm going to do is pull back here. Hopefully Goose Rocks pulls back over here, and then as they come forward, if they want to try to come up through this little choke point alley, no matter which way they're looking, one of us can get a free shot, and maybe we can even up the fight or gain an advantage. I get one shot on the carny. I'm saying, you know, I really don't want to be here. I'm going to back up a little bit, go into this little nook back here, because I'll be able to angle my tank and completely prevent them from getting a shot at me until I want to. And also, if I have to escape, I have a easier time escaping than if I'm farther forward. Goose Rocks is way back in the corner, forcing them to come around. I get a shot in the Carney, but here comes the T-32. There's nothing I can do while I reload, but I'm going to be able to kill this guy now as he backs up. And now I'm 1-on-2 against the Carney and the E-25. What would you do? Hopefully you noticed the E-25 trying to play smart and make an end run around this building and catch me in a pincer. So I have to be aware that just in a couple seconds he's going to be popping out around here. And he has the rate of fire. It's going to take him maybe 2, probably 3 shots, but he can do that in rapid fashion. Meanwhile, the Carney's over on this side. I'm going to rotate my tank around, go laterally like this to where I'm going to minimize the angle that I give the Carney for a shot while I rotate my turret and get ready to meet the E-25. If I get a decent shot in the E-25, he's dead, and I'm 1-on-1 with the heavy, and we'll just have to see how he plays it and decide what to do then. But my immediate threat, my biggest threat right now, is that E-25 trying to get to my side. I see him what he's doing, and so I'm getting ready for him. I'm rotating my tank, trying to side scrape and give that heavy as little shot as possible. Here comes the E-25. I'm ready. I get a kill. My engines or my tracks are dead. I'm praying for my tracks. Hurry up. I've already used my repair kit. I try to hit the Carney and track him as now I'm going to do a backwards circle of death. I managed to track him. He can't move. I'm just barely staying ahead of his gun. I need a reload, get to his side. He won't be able to shoot me as I go by this tank. Yes. Death. And somehow I pull out a victory there. Having that tank right there was actually perfect because it blocked any chance he had of getting that shot off. I cleared the tank before his gun did, so I got to fire first and I won. Doing a backwards circle of death. I end up with 1,966 damage, 7 kills, 0 assisted damage because of the way the fight played out, 2 spots, a top gun, and 2,081 XP. They didn't send a lot of tanks over here because the E-25s all went down in here. The Hellcats all went down in here. And once I realized I'd be able to make a run to the south without anybody seeing me until I got far south, it was like, hey, that's what I need to do. I need to get down there and flank these guys and hopefully help my team out from the back. Along the way, I was able to take out the artillery, which is like a little added surprise. I figured he'd be down in here somewhere. I thought the Hellcat would be retreating backwards, but he decided to come forward. Fortunately, Goose Rocks came with me, kind of shadowed me the whole fight. It worked out really well. And the Hellcat and I saw each other at the same time. I was in a great position just to continue my forward movement and get a shot into his rear. He decided to reverse direction, pursue me behind the building, but by the time he managed to get close to me, I'd already reloaded, and that was his death. From there, watching the minimap, because I watched the minimap, that's how you end up playing well. I saw that they were an extreme threat to begin capping, so I knew I had to work my way back toward cap right away. I couldn't wait till they capped because they wouldn't leave me enough time to come back and do anything effectively. So I immediately started moving back toward cap to be there in case I was needed, but they chose not to cap. That was a huge mistake on their part. If there was any time to cap, that was it right there. They could have totally changed the fight, most likely would have won it because they would have forced my hand on defense. And they probably, once they got me close enough to start shooting at them, they're fast enough to keep me from getting away. They just could have wolf-packed me and taken me out, and that would have been the game. But they chose to fight, and they chose to stay together. The enemy team ended up all here within the space of a couple city blocks. It let Goose Rocks and me circle in from the side of them and start wearing them down. And we managed to get the fight down to the point where when our heavies died, they were forced to come through a choke point. And I was on this side, Goose Rocks was on the other side, and so we had them in a crossfire when they advanced. They were smart enough to send both heavies at once. And they killed Goose Rocks that way, but in doing so they lost their one heavy, and that left me 1-on-2 with the E-25 and the Carney. And again, they played pretty smart. The E-25 tried to come around and catch me looking the wrong way. I managed to see what he was up to, and because I was back in this little nook right here, I was able to use the building and the placement of my hull to minimize the risk to the Carney while I was able to rotate my turret and take out the E-25. And then as the Carney came in thinking he's going to get a kill on me, I was able to get my turret back onto him, track him, and as soon as my tracks got fixed, because the E-25 I believe had tracked me, I was able to go into a reverse circle of death and stay just barely ahead of his turret rotation. If he had been able to traverse his tank, I would have died. And then as I came around the full circle, I did a complete 360 reverse circle. There was the nice dead tank right in the way that prevented him from shooting, and it allowed me to pull out and get the kill before he could bring his gun to bear on me. And it ended out just being perfect placement in so many different ways. It allowed me to get a win where I probably should have lost. Stay aware of the angles and geometry of World of Tanks. If I hadn't positioned my hull in the manner that I did, the Carney probably would have killed me as he moved in. And if I hadn't have been aware of the mini-map and seen that E-25 moving parallel to me and recognized what he was up to and positioned myself to take him on, he would have taken me out. There's all kinds of different things working together very rapidly that have to come together in order for you to pull out wins like this. Your OODA loop is spinning fast. You have to be able to observe what's going on, correctly analyze its impact on you, and then quickly form a plan of action or reaction and put it into effect. And you have to do that faster than the enemy's doing it. And if you can do that consistently and successfully and correctly, analytically, then you end up being the victor in a fight you should have lost. From Kharkov, being just a half a second faster than the enemy, just fast enough to pull out the win. Happy hunting.